Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking time to join us for this TETCO Geothermal webinar. And I am here with Brian Erlob, our Commercial Sales Manager, and also Kyle Smith, our Inside Sales Manager, will help us with some incoming questions. So as we begin, you are more than welcome to type in your questions, and then we'll be able to answer those for you at the conclusion of our time together. But it's exciting, Brian, to be able to bring this to the industry. So I know the release is today on this all-in-one variable speed water-to-water unit. So first of all, folks, thank you for taking time. Whether you're from the building trades industry, you're a heating and cooling contractor, distributor, architect, engineer, we greatly value and appreciate your time in joining us today. So Brian, if you will, take it away and just share what we have bringing with this new innovation to TETCO.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tim. I appreciate that. Before we get into the heat pump itself, just want to share with you a few facts and some information about geothermal technology and energy use and heating and cooling systems around the country. So, a couple things. First of all, if you look at the average family in the United States, they spend about $2,000 per year on home utilities. That's heating, cooling, and hot water for domestic use. So that's quite a large chunk. And if you look at that overall, what you spend to own a home, that's the second largest expense that you have, with taxes being the first. So if you look at your heating, cooling, and hot water system, and you have an inefficient system, that's a very large opportunity to be able to save some money by going with something that's renewable, energy efficient, and then of course very comfortable as well with a geothermal heat pump. The other fact I wanted to point out here is that natural gas is used to heat approximately 48% of the homes across the country, whereas electricity is used to heat about 38% of the homes. And a geothermal heat pump system is an electric-driven device, so we would be using that technology to drive our system, and then of course that system utilizes the Earth's energy to heat and cool the space, and that's where we get our free and renewable energy from. The other interesting fact is that smaller homes are now in higher demand. The average size of a U.S. household is actually shrinking, and that actually plays very well with geothermal, because the smaller the home, the smaller the geothermal system, the more cost competitive and cost effective it can be. Not that we can't do it in large homes, we certainly can, but the smaller the home, the more efficient or energy efficient the home, the smaller the geothermal system, and again, the lower the cost to install that geothermal system. So that's nice to see. So is there a better choice than geothermal heating and cooling? Well, according to the EPA, there isn't. The EPA says it's the most efficient and environmentally friendly heating and cooling system available today, and that's been true since this technology has been around, from the 50s and 60s. So it's really the best system when we talk about efficiency and also for the environment. Geothermal heat pump systems are 300 to 500% efficient, or more efficient than a conventional furnace. If you look at something that burns a fossil fuel like a furnace or a boiler, you can never achieve more than 100%. Anytime you burn a fuel, there's always something left over in the form of a flue gas. That flue gas has been heated and it goes outside through the flue or the chimney. So the best on the market are maybe 98% efficiency, and that's only combustion efficiency. You still have electric devices to distribute that heat to the space, whether that's a boiler system with pumps or a furnace with fan motors, etc. A geothermal system doesn't create heat, it moves heat. So we have heat present in the earth at all times. We bury a ground loop outside in your backyard, and then we just transfer that energy and that heat from the earth into your home with a heat pump system in the winter, and then in the summer we take the heat from your home and we deposit it out in the nice cool earth. And we can do that at more than 100% efficiency because we're not creating it, we're just utilizing some electric energy, and then we're transferring heat. Excuse me. The other nice thing about electric-driven devices and just electricity overall, there are no fluctuations, cost fluctuations, or certainly not as great. If you look at the volatility of gas and oil, it looks like an EKG. It's up and down, and it's very volatile, whereas electric over the years is very stable, and you don't see those big fluctuations. So again, we're an electric-driven device, so we are not susceptible to those high fluctuations and volatility of that energy. So if we look at cost savings, we're about 30 to 60% savings in the heating mode, and then 25 to 50% savings on cooling. And why is there a range? Well, it depends on your energy costs. Now we're not talking about efficiency, we're talking about actually dollars and cents. So if you look at, electric rates in a certain region versus gas, they're different all over the country. So there's a range there. But if you just on average say 50% in heating and 25 to 50% in cooling, we're saving over half of that $2,000 the average family spends. So you've got $1,000 or more in your pocket at the end of every year by going with a geothermal system versus a traditional gas and air-cooled air conditioning system. And as well, hot water, is part of the equation as well. That's not even factored in there. And the other really great thing about geothermal systems, really I think that's overlooked, is the longer lifespan, primarily in the ground loop. If you look at the ground loop, that's a one-time investment in an energy source. So you are pre-purchasing your energy one time at today's cost. You're putting that in the ground, and that will be there for the life of that structure. So whether it's a home or a building, the ground loop does not deteriorate. It never needs to be replaced, and that energy source will be there for the life of the building. So it's a one-time cost, actually a one-time investment, because you're investing in energy source, okay? And then they're going to use a heat pump system just to capture that energy. And that heat pump also is going to last longer than a traditional furnace and air conditioning system because it's indoors, a lot less moving parts. There's very little maintenance to those systems because everything is sealed inside, okay? And so they're going to last 25 plus years and provide, that comfort and efficiency over that time frame. And quiet operation. We are putting a compressor now within the dwelling, but the one thing with this all-in-one new variable speed water-to-water, it is ridiculously quiet. It really is truly amazing how quiet this machine is. So you can put it right in the living space, in the mechanical space, and it's super quiet, and it takes up very little space as well. So obviously that's very important because of the system that we have here. We don't want to disrupt anybody within the dwelling with any noise, and so we've done an excellent job of making the system as quiet as possible. So this is a new kind of geothermal system. This is our new variable speed water-to-water, and it really is the Swiss Army knife of heating and cooling. This compact unit does it all. It does everything that you need to do when it comes to heating, cooling, and hot water within the dwelling or within the building. And one of the great things, it does radiant heating, which is one of the most comfortable ways to heat a space. So it offers that technology. We can also do radiant cooling if we desire. That technology is kind of up and coming, and this product is one of the few that will be able to do that. We can also do 100% of the domestic hot water supply, and that is all year, replacing a standard water heating system. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's an on-demand system, and it's 100%. There's no other geothermal heat pump system on the market that's able to do that. So that's very, very impressive. So not only are we saving energy in heating and cooling, but really saving energy in the hot water system as well. And of course, we can do forced air heating and cooling, whether that's a ducted system or a ductless system. We're just taking hot water and chilled water, and we're sending that to any other distribution device we have within the home or building. So it could be an air handler, it could be a ductless system on the wall. And then we can also do a lot of other things, such as pool heating, snow melt, garage heating, whether that's radiant floor or through like a unit heater. So we're very flexible. We can utilize this compact all-in-one system to do many things, and very, very efficiently as well. So as I mentioned, this is a very compact unit. You're talking about roughly 2 foot by 2 foot footprint and 3 feet tall. So it's very, very compact for what it does and what it offers. And if you look at the diagram there, we're looking at about 8 foot by 4 foot space, which is about 32 square foot of a footprint. And that tank that you see there is actually the water heater. It is no longer a buffer tank. If you're familiar with the traditional water-to-water system, we would have a buffer tank. This system eliminates that. So we've eliminated components, we save space, and as you know, if you're building a home, you know, every square foot counts. If you're paying $150, $200 a square foot to build a home, we can allow you to have more living space than mechanical space. So you're getting more bang for your buck there with this product. Very, very little mechanical space needed. The other great thing about this product is it's more efficient than other geothermal systems that are available. About 30% more from the test sites that we've done. We've seen an increase in efficiency and an increase in comfort level because of how this system operates, because of the fact that it's variable speed, not only variable capacity, but variable temperature. So we're providing the absolute right temperature to the floor or to the duct system, as well as the capacity to match whatever load is required to heat or cool or to do the hot water, which allows us to increase the efficiency of the system. And we're seeing that with all the test sites that we've done. And in the real world, you know, these applications, we're seeing a lot of days where we're achieving COPs of over 6, which is unheard of in the water-to-water market in the geothermal world. That is a fantastic efficiency. That means 600% efficient. And that's, again, because we're adjusting to the outdoor conditions, and we're also adjusting the capacity and the temperature of the system. And it's doing this every second. Not only can we do radiant floor and domestic water heating, we can also do forced air. And the great thing about this product is we can really zone as much as we need to, so we're not heating the entire space. If you have a larger home and you know you don't want to heat the rooms where nobody's living, you don't have to. So now we can do forced air zoning, forced air heating and cooling and zoning, as well as radiant floor and zoning. So now we can really only condition the areas where you're living at that particular time. And again, that it just increases the overall efficiency and comfort to the system. So how does this system help you? Well, yes, there is more, absolutely. Because of this technology, the inverter-driven compressor, we can achieve this net zero and off-the-grid capabilities very easily. We actually can save on solar panels. So if you were wanting to go net zero and you're going to put some PV panels on the roof, we don't need as many PV panels to drive this system as you would with a traditional geothermal system. Because of the soft start technology, because of the inverter, it starts very slowly, and because most of the time you're running at such a low capacity, we don't need as much energy to drive it. Okay, so and the other part about net zero is you cannot get to net zero with gas or fossil fuel. You can only get there with electric-driven device. And of course, you wouldn't do that with straight electric heat. So you're using a heat pump, and the best heat pump is geothermal, and the best one on the market is the new all-in-one WV series. So this is the way to achieve net zero very easily and very efficiently, and actually will save you a little bit of money on solar panels. Because everything is variable speed and soft start, that really enhances the comfort and the efficiency of the system. So we have a variable speed compressor. We have variable speed pumps that circulate the water to and from the loop field and throughout the floor within the home or the air handler. And then also the fan motor itself would be variable speed. So everything within the system is now variable speed technology, true ECM technology, and inverter driven. And that just adds to the efficiency and the ability to go net zero. Okay, let's talk about some of these test sites. The first one here is in Brighton, Utah. Now this home is up about 9,000 foot of elevation. It's a heating only system. The home is about 4,000 square feet. The mechanical space is actually under the stairs. It's less than 32 square feet. And this was a geothermal heated home prior to installing the new all-in-one system. But what they had prior was a 5-ton single-speed fixed capacity, water-to-water geothermal, and then they also had a 2-ton water-to-water geothermal for domestic heating. Then they had a buffer tank and 2 other tanks for domestic hot water storage because of the needs for high volume, with the domestic water. So we were able to get rid of 2 geothermal water-to-water units and 3 tanks, and cut down to 1 variable speed all-in-one geothermal heat pump and 1 indirect water heater off of that geothermal system to do the same job or all those other components. And we were able to save space. We found that it runs about 30% more efficient, and we're even keeping the homeowners keeping it warmer. So when they're not there, they were keeping it at 55. Now they're keeping it at 65, and they're heating this home throughout the entire winter for less than $900 a year at roughly 12 cents a kilowatt. So very efficient, more efficient than what they had, more comfortable than what they had prior. They do have a vertical loop there, about 6 zones, and we're doing all the domestic hot water and all the radiant floor with this one machine. So very versatile, very efficient, very comfortable. Okay, the second test site is in Mound, Minnesota. Now this particular home is about 3,000 square foot. This is a high efficiency home. It's a ICF construction. We have very small mechanical space needed again. This was a geothermal home prior to, so it did have a 5-ton single speed fixed capacity unit, but now this particular home was using gas to heat the domestic hot water off of a boiler. We replaced all of that again with the new all-in-one variable speed water to water, as well as the indirect water heater. So we're doing water heating with geothermal now and not gas. And then of course we're doing cooling, radiant heating throughout the entire home. There is forced air as well for the shoulder seasons through an air handler, and the domestic hot water. This is a vertical loop, 7 radiant zones, 2 forced air. And again, we're finding from the homeowner that the comfort level is better, the efficiency is greater. The system runs at very low speed and very low temperatures most of the time, and again, achieving COPs of over 6 many days throughout that seasons, throughout the spring and the fall especially. Okay, so homeowners thrilled, and again, this all-in-one system does everything that they needed to do and replace those existing systems. And the third test site is in Staunton, Illinois. Now, this was a new build home, a new construction. Okay, so they didn't have an existing system. It's about 3,500 square feet. They put in a directional bore loop field, so they drilled down about 20 feet horizontally, maybe 200 feet in length. They have 7 heating zones, 3 cooling zones. They're heating the garage as well with radiant floor. They've actually done some preliminary testing on some radiant cooling, which they found is really efficient and very comfortable. Radiant heat throughout the house. And again, they do also use some forced air for shoulder seasons and for cooling. And they do have a gas backup. But this homeowner has been absolutely thrilled with the comfort level. They cannot believe how much more comfortable the system is, not just because it's radiant, but because, again, this system speeds up and slows down based on the needs and the load of the structure, based on the outdoor temperature, and also adjust that floor temperature so you don't have the swings. If the sun goes behind a cloud and comes back out, you don't have those temperature swings within the structure that you would have with other traditional radiant floor systems, because we're monitoring every second the outdoor conditions, the water temperatures, and the capacity of the unit. So it does a fantastic job with the comfort and the efficiency that they're seeing here at this home. Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and take some questions. Tim,
all right,
take it away.
Brian, thank you for taking us through not only just the testimonials, but just the total operation. And I think it's probably even difficult for most people to wrap their mind around that, really, all in one. So that leads to a few questions that we had come in. Is this WV, this unit, capable of replacing an existing boiler for a hot water heating system?
Yeah, it's a great question, Tim, and I didn't really touch on this, but the other great innovation with this product, not only is it variable speed inverter driven, not only does it change capacities and temperatures, but it's also capable of doing high temperature water for those older homes that may have a baseboard heating system or a radiator heating system off of a boiler, and we can achieve up to 140 degrees, and we can now use geothermal to do heating for those homeowners that weren't previously able to use geothermal technology. So that's a fantastic innovation, and it'll do that very reliably for year in and year out.
Very good. Thanks, Brian. Good answer on that one. What is the maximum temperature for the domestic hot water, and is it capable of looking after all of my hot water needs?
Yeah, that's really the greatest innovation, I think, with this product. Number one, we can do 135 degrees for the domestic hot water, which most people don't keep their water heaters above about 120 to 125. So we're more than capable to do the temperature that we need or required to do domestic hot water. but we're also capable of doing all the hot water anytime throughout the entire year. And that's what's really unique about this product. There isn't another one on the market that can do on-demand hot water anytime and full capacity. So whether you have a smaller home with 2 bathrooms or a larger home with 3 or 4 and large showers and bathtubs, this system produces hot water like none other. And with one 50-gallon or 80-gallon indirect tank, depending on what you have or what your needs are, this system can do all your hot water, and it does it at a very efficient rate. From COPs at the worst case, maybe around 2, 2.2, to COPs up about 4, depending again on the conditions the system is operating under. So fantastic way to heat domestic hot water.
Great answer, Brian. Thank you. Let's touch a little bit, Brian. You'd mentioned about other water-to-water units in the marketplace and even the single-stage and two-stage water-to-water units that we have. Do a little comparison for the folks today on price point. How does this rank versus even looking at it from a labor saving or control complexity?
Yeah, that's another great question. Of course, we have to look at that because usually with innovation and technology comes cost. And with this particular product, yes, the heat pump itself, comparative to a single stage or fixed capacity water to water, it does cost more, primarily because of the controls, but also because of the technology and the inverter. But the great thing is we were able to look at the installation and the design and the application, and we're able to reduce the total cost to the end user because we're eliminating components that were needed prior with the older systems to not needing those now, such as buffer tanks, which then creates an additional pumping system, an additional wiring, an additional labor, additional piping. So if you look at the installation cost with this product and the fact that it's really plug and play, very easy installation, everything is built in and on board, we've really saved and cut down on the labor and the installation of the product and also components. So now we're actually reducing the overall install cost to the end user. At worst case, maybe it's a wash, but we're not increasing the cost, even though they're getting the most efficient and the most flexible system and the most comfortable system available today.
Excellent. Kyle, did we have some questions also roll in?
Yeah, here's another, and I'm particularly interested in this one as well. How realistic is it to hit net zero with this unit?
That's very realistic. We're finding out that with geothermal systems, on average for a typical home, if you installed a 10 kilowatt PV system, that you can achieve net zero by using a geothermal system. And this just enhances that because of the soft start technology, the inverter-driven technology, where you don't need that large, boost to start the machine. So now we can really achieve net zero much easier. We can also achieve off the grid much easier. But yes, with a very small PV system and a geothermal all-in-one WV variable system, it's very achievable. Absolutely.
Yeah, that off-grid is a conversation we're going to be having in the years to come, I'm sure. So with that being said, in some unique applications, you can definitely do ductless, as you said in the presentation as well, in consoles and cassettes. So we can pair those with the units, and you can have an off-grid situation in even a remote cabin, for example, with a generator, one of our new variable speed water-to-water units, and some ductless units as well. So here's another question. What size land area do you need to install the ground loop? Let's just say on a 2,000 square foot house.
Yeah, that's a great question. Really, here's how you look at it. If you have enough yard to drive a drill rig in to drill a couple holes, then you have a large enough yard to get the system installed. So it's really whether or not we can get the equipment in. The footprint of your yard is more than sufficient because we can drill vertically into the earth, 200 feet or whatever the needs are. So you don't have, and if you have more space, if you had an acre or better, then we could possibly go horizontal. So it really just depends. But if, we do these on city lots every day, and as long as we can get the drill rig in to drill vertically somehow into the yard, then it's certainly feasible to do geothermal.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that I see for now. Another one that I've heard today is also when can people get their hands on this unit?
Hey, that's the best question yet. Yeah, today is the official launch. We're so excited to release this product, and everything will be up on our websites today. So if you went to TETCO.geo.com, and you can find information, literature, technical documents, everything is going to be loaded there. And then, of course, you can always contact Intertech for more information. But today is the official launch date. We are releasing this. We have been taking some pre-orders, but everything is ready to go. And, we've been working on this for, over 2 years now, and we're so excited to finally release this product. And this is changing the game when it comes to hydronic, radiant floor, and geothermal heating and cooling systems. So we're really excited.
In wrapping up, Brian, what we'll also do is this webinar has been recorded, and we will put this up on the TETCO Geothermal YouTube channel, so that will be available for the folks that may want to come back and replay it. There's a lot to absorb in this brand new product. So thank you all for taking time to join us today with this TETCO Geothermal webinar on our all-new inverter drive series, all-in-one geothermal. Brian, thank you for sharing today. Have a great day.